Welcome back, aliens. My name is Davin Reddy, and in this video, we'll talk about AI engineering, or we have this new role called AI engineer. So let's talk about it. See, when you talk about AI, and it's not something new, it's there from a long time. From 1950s, we got certain things. From 1970s, we got some improvements. And then every year, we saw something coming. But then it was all for the enterprises, how they can build certain things with the help of AI. And we are hearing about Google AI, Watson from IBM, and from different companies. But in 2022, this is a time when OpenAI made ChatGPT. Now, this was the first time, I think, where AI was accessible for normal users, and things started changing very fast after that point. And now we are a bit scared if AI is going to take over all the jobs, not just for developers, for writers, for trainers. Because of the videos, I don't think you need to watch my video in future. There will be a AI bot teaching you. Okay, now that's a different thing. Okay, so let's see that in the future. I'm a bit scared, but that's fine. The point here is, as a software developer like you and me, what is our role? Now, yeah, they are talking about AI is going to replace software developer, they can build applications, but this also gives you a power to use AI in building softwares. It's not about building software the way you are doing. We have to add something extra, and that something extra is the AI capabilities in your existing application or the new application. The way you build software is changing. So AI is not just for PhDs or data scientists. It is for software developers as well. And we have to understand how do we do it. And if you can integrate AI into your application as a software developer, you can call yourself now as an AI engineer. So your role switches from a software engineer to an AI engineer. So what is changing? See, when you build application, of course, your idea is to solve a problem. So there's a problem in the world which you're trying to solve by building application. Or maybe you're creating a new problem and solving it. That's a different point. But the idea is to solve a problem with the help of software. And the way your software works is how you define it to work. Basically, when you build a software, we go it in certain steps, right? We have something called SDLC, which is software development life cycle. We go with different phases. If there's a problem, you will understand the requirement. Then you will design it. Then you will code it. Then you will test it. And then you will deploy it and maintain. That's the normal process. Of course, you can add certain things here. You can remove some stages, like if you are building a college project or dummy project, who is doing testing, right? But yes, if you want to do that in the enterprise level, testing is very important. Now, what happens in all the phases here? In the requirement phase, you get the requirement. In the analysis phase, you understand what is the requirement is, and then you start designing the model. Okay, not AI model, basically how the software will work. And you define everything. What should happen when? What kind of input you're going to get from the user? What actions you are going to perform on that? So let's say, if you want to achieve certain thing, you will say, click this button, then this will happen. Now, based on certain condition, you want to execute certain things. Now, you have to define everything. You have to also make sure that by clicking that button, you're not launching a rocket or shutting down the system. Basically, you check everything in that design phase, and then you will start implementing it in the coding phase. Now, this is what we want to change. Why, as a software developer, you have to define what should be the logic, what should happen when. What if AI can generate logic based on what it has learned? So you are not defining the logic, it is AI. You just say what you want to achieve based on the user interactions. Now, how we are going to do this? See, there are a lot of models available in the market, right? If you heard about GPT or Gemini or Anthropic Cloud, basically, all these are models which you can use. They are not just a fun tool to have some fun now. They are production-ready APIs which you can use and implement in your application. Now, question arises, how will you do it? Now, these companies or these models, they also give you APIs, not for free. Yeah, you can use open source models if you want it for free, or they might also provide you some free APIs to use. But if you want to use them full-fledged, of course, you will pay for it, or you will get the access anyhow. But they will give you APIs. Now, you have to integrate those APIs in your application. So it is your job as an AI engineer in between to help to connect this application with the AI models. And the good thing is you are 80% there. is because you know how everything works. You know how to build a software. In fact, not just into the coding phase, you understand all the steps. You know what the requirements are. You know what is possible, what is not possible. I don't think in the AI world anything is impossible now, but you know the limits, right? And then you know how software should work, how user will interact. You also know how to code. You know one of the programming language. Then you know what its testing concept altogether is. What is new for you is integrating those AI tools or AI models in your application. So you can think about this as AI is not replacing you. It's more about enhancing your existing capability. And with that, you're not just building an application, you're building a smart or intelligent applications. So now let's go back to that SDLC. What are the things which are going to change? Of course, the normal SDLC will remain same, but you have to inject certain more steps in between. Example, how will you interact with the AI? And thanks to ChatGPT and all these models or the applications, you know how to talk to AI. There is something called prompt engineering. There are good ways of doing it, there are bad ways of doing it, and we have to learn the good ways to make your application much better. Second is, it's not just about working with one database now. So of course, to store your data, you're going to use some database. But if you want to use AI, we have to add some extra concepts like embedding and vector databases and also RAG. Why you will need that? So let's say you have an application which you're building for a client who is into ticket booking. So maybe flight tickets or bus tickets or train tickets. So they are into that. And now when a new user comes in, now of course for a new user, they have to create an account. Now how they will create an account? Yeah, I know it is straightforward. You can basically open the page and there should be an option of creating an account. But let's say if they get stuck somewhere because it's asked you for extra information and now they don't know how to proceed. So of course you will provide a chatbot, right? And that's the default behavior nowadays. You got a chatbot there and you will say, okay, I want to know how to create an account in this application. Now, if you think about this chatbot, it might be using some models behind the scene like OpenAI or Cloud or whatever model you have. Now this model, when you ask, they will know how to create an account in general, okay? Now, when you say in general, maybe they know how to get an account on Google or Facebook or maybe Amazon, and they will give you steps how to get an account on those applications. And that's where it is hallucinating, right? We are asking for our application, it is giving the data about those websites. Now, this is where you have to inject certain documents in your bot by saying, see, it's not just about interacting with the OpenAI. This is our company policies. This is how you create an account for this particular application. So you will inject those documents in the AI or in your prompt. And that's what you can do with the help of RAG. So those documents goes into the database, not the normal database if you're thinking. It is a vector database. Now to convert that from text to numbers, which vector database support, you need to have embeddings. Now, if you're not understanding all those things, don't worry, we'll go to them in detail later. But I just wanted to give you an idea. It's not just about using models and you will call yourself as AI engineer. You have to do all those steps as well. Prompt engineering, embedding vectors, RAG, and also how do you deploy the application now? Because it's not just a normal application. You are interacting with the models. You are storing that data in the vector database as well. So it changes the way you do DevOps now. So we should call it as LLM Ops now. That sounds much better. Right? So things are changing. Apart from it, you have to also fine tune your AI model. You can't simply use OpenAI by saying it should behave the way I want. Example, let's say if I'm building my own AI tutor, and if you say, hey, I want to learn Java, or maybe I want to learn, let's say blockchain, and AI tutor with the help of OpenAI, it will give you the entire document. Hey, now read this. But then I want the AI tutor or the model which you're using should behave like the way I teach. It should teach the way I teach. How will I do that? And that's where I have to fine tune my AI specifically for education, specifically for the way we work. Okay, so those things also included in AI engineering. Now the question is, do we have to also build models? Not necessarily, because all these companies are already doing it. You don't have to build your own models. You can do that, okay? Nobody's stopping you to build your own models. But the question is, should we? And yes, if you are a company who want to build their own models, please, we need good models in the market competing with existing models. But let's say if your idea is just to build your application smart, it's good to use the existing models. If you don't want to use the proprietary models, you can also use open source models. You can run it on your local hardware and you can make it work. You can do the configuration for that. You can change the way it works, and the data will belong to you. Okay, if you want to achieve that. But do you need to know the basics of AI a bit? Yes, you should. Should you understand how AI works, how this model works, what is neural networks? Basics of it will be needed, and that should be enough. You don't have to go in depth, because when I started AI, I started with that. I started with mathematics, statistics, then understanding what is machine learning, understanding different algorithms there. But now when I'm trying to be a AI engineer now, I'm not using them. But yes, it helps me to understand how they are doing it. When the new models comes into picture, I know what is changing, and that should be enough for you. And before we end this, remember one thing. It's not AI who's going to replace the developers. It's the developers who are using AI are going to replace developers who are not using AI. And I want to add one more point. Now, you might be thinking, when you add all those steps in between, when you use the models, it will cost. And yes, it will cost, but to whom? If it is costing to you, you're going to sell the products to your customer, they will be happy, right? Because see, businesses looks for values, and if you can provide values, they're going to pay for it. They also need competitive advantage. So if you have a client who got competition in the market, and if they have AI, of course they're ready to pay for it. And ultimately, they can keep their customers happy by customizing it as per their needs. So yeah, that's all about AI engineering, and the plan is to create the series on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're excited, let me know so that I will get motivated and I will start the series soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next part. Bye-bye.